Now we're going to look at step functions in the real world. Step functions are piecewise functions, right? Because there's, as you can see in these graphs on your screen right here, there's little pieces of functions, and each time you move up, you have a new value. Now we do have to consider what's open and closed and reasonability. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, just all we're going to do is read the problem and pick the graph that matches that context. So, at Kai's parking garage, the hourly price depends on how long the car is kept in the lot. Up to the first hour, and for any time less, there's a flat cost of $5.50. So we know, if nothing else, it should start at $5.50. After 1 hour, it costs an additional $3 for every block of 2 hours or less. Okay, now this actually, if we think about what's happening here, this isn't the hardest problem in the world, I promise. I know there's a lot going on and everything like that, but if you think about it, they're charging us a flat fee of $5.50 for the first hour, and any time within that first hour, which looks like is what's happening in every single one of these problems, every one of these answers. However, are they charging us $5.50 if we're never there? No. So it doesn't make sense for the $5.50 to be included when it's 0 hours. Also, it's for the first hour and any time less. So you're going to include that first hour as being $5.50. Anytime above that, anytime at all. So you're talking an hour and 2 seconds. It's going to be the additional $3 for every 2 hours after that. So that's when we're going to include the $5.50 is at an hour, not at 0 hours. So just knowing that means that we should have an open circle on the left side and a closed circle on the right side of that interval. Which means that if we're looking at these problems, this right here, that's where they're charging us $5.50 for 0 hours in the parking lot. And that doesn't even make sense. So that's out. Same thing here for this one, that's out also, because again, that's included right there. So these two graphs, these are accurately representing that there is a flat cost of $5.50 for that first hour. Then it says after an hour, it costs an additional $3 for every block of 2 hours. That means that our X should span 2 hours, not just one, which means that the only possible answer is actually this one. Because if you look, the interval here is 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, and 1 hour. But here it's 2, 2, 2, and 2. So that's the reasonable answer to this particular problem. This problem has a lot of words, so we need to read through them and make sure that we're really paying attention to the little nuances that are going on in this problem. So the first thing we have to do is look at the very first set of information. We've got this graph here. Okay, it looks like it's starting at 2002, and it's $125 to start in 2002. And then 2002 to 2005, that's a 3-year gap. And then it's going to go down, right? We're going from 125 to 112. That's not a huge leap, right? In fact, if we find that difference is $13. So, and then every 3 years after that, right? So 2005, I lied. These aren't the same. See, so 2002 to 2005, that's 3 years, but 2005 to 2009, that's 4 years. And 2009 to 2013, that's another 4. And 13 to 7, that's another 4. So let's find the answer that matches that. Let's start. They all start with, on January 1st, 2002, the price of a certain computer chip was a certain amount. This says that it's $73. That's not what we found. We found that it was $125 just by looking at the graph. So option A is not the answer. We already eliminated one of them. If we read on January 1st, 2002, this says 125, this says 125, and this says 125. So we can't eliminate any more like that. The price was the same for the next 3 years. That's true. If we look at the next one, though, this says that price was the same for the next 4 years. That's not true. The next price did not begin in 2006. It began in 2005, which means I'm going to go ahead and eliminate C as an option. Because it's not 4 years. And this one's because it's not $73. Then let's see what the difference is between B and D. Beginning on January 1st, 2005, beginning January 1st, 2005, and for every exact block of 4 years, thereafter, the price of the chip decreased by $73. The price of the chip decreased by $13. Well, we actually already did that math. We found that it was $13, which means that this is the correct answer. Here, so let's circle the answer because that said 73. So the issues here on part A was initially that initial value. Then we eliminated C because it wasn't every 4 years, or it wasn't for 4 years that lasted. It was only 3. And then finally, 73 was not the difference. So the moral of the story is read the problem. Read the answer choices. That's how you're going to find out what the answer is.